Hello, this is Shadow of the Moon 87, and today I'm going to be doing a updated deck profile of my Blackwing deck for May 2021. And before we get started, not a whole lot of stuff has changed in here, but I did add a few things in here, and changed a few things, and you are going to really like it. This is probably the best that this deck is ever going to get. That's a pure Blackwing deck. There are only a few exceptions to it with the Phantom Knights add-on, but other than that, I think this is absolutely perfect. And for all you Blackwing fans out there, just like you know how I am, you guys are really going to enjoy it. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Because you guys, I think on my channel by now, have seen about half a dozen of these videos, so you guys know what to expect. Alright, so your 3 copies of Simoon the Poison Wind, obviously. This allows you to search your deck and activate Black Whirlwind by revealing himself and removing from play a Blackwing monster. Then you're going to want Chris the Crack of Dawn. 3 Chris's, because 3 Chris's isn't as good as Bora, but 3 Chris's will still allow you to special summon if there's a face-up Blackwing monster on the field, and also it's unaffected by trap cards. But that's if you want to go by that route. Mainly this is a good way for a good extender to add the special summon itself from the hand. Then you've got 3 copies of obviously one of the best cards in this deck, Bora the Spear. Bora the Spear has no limit to how many times it can special summon. As long as you control a Blackwing monster other than Bora, you can special summon this card from your hand. And this is why we completely and utterly abuse the heck out of this card, because of how good it is. Then you get 3 copies of, I've got 3 copies of Oster the Southwind. Oster the Southwind is really good, because this is what can set up, since it's a tuner, it can set up for a lot of your full Armor Master plays, a lot of your Borreload Savage Dragon plays. This sets up for a lot of good stuff. And also it has the ability with the wedge counter that when it is in the graveyard, you can remove him from play to place a wedge counter on your opponent's face-up monster or monsters. Alright, then we've got 1 copy of Zephyros the Elite. You only need 1 Zephyros the Elite. This is what you mainly search for other than Raider's Wing in this deck, to be able to set up for your Exceed plays, and to have more field presence, and as an extender, and have more monsters on your side of the field so you can keep going and build your board with it. It's also, as long as you can send a face-up card back to the hand, or you can send a Blackwing, which you would want to send Bora the Spear or Gale, and then bounce it back to special summon it, and then you can special summon Bora the Spear or Gale. Which, speaking of which, 3 copies of Gale the Whirlwind. Gale the Whirlwind is one of my personal favorites. It can cut a monster's attack in half. Also, it can be special summoned the same way Bora the Spear is. There's no limit to it, so you can just keep bouncing it back and bouncing it back, and it gets crazy. 1 copy of Gladius the Midnight Sun. Gladius the Midnight Sun isn't as good, but it is still a really good card to add in this deck. It's a good extender for your field. So if you have a monster and you already have Oster the Southwind, you can search your deck from Simoon the Poisonous Wind. You can search your deck for this, and then add it to your hand, and then special summon it if you have exactly 1 Blackwing monster on the field, and then you can continue with your plays. Then we've got 2 copies of Hamart in the Dust. Hamart in the Dust is great because it can modify its level based on a face-up Blackwing monster that you choose. So if you have a level 3, it can add 3 stars to it, making it a level 5, and that's a good way to get into your level 8 synchros. Then you've got 1 copy of Blizzard of the Far North. Blizzard of the Far North is in a Monster Reborn. I've only got 1 in here because you only need 1. Blizzard of the Far North is a really good card to be in here because it can special summon a level 4 or lower Blackwing monster from your graveyard in defense position and set up for more of your plays, and it's a good extender overall. Then you've got 2 copies of Orochi the Squall. This is a really good card because it can special summon if you have a face-up Blackwing monster in the field, and it's also a tuner. And also has the added bonus of switching one of your opponent's monsters to defense mode if it's used for a synchro summon. So it's really good. Then, the original OG, this is kind of my hand trap. Most people are playing Ash Blossom, most people play Ghost Ogre, or they play any of the other hand traps out there. Effect Veiler, I use, because it goes with the deck, 3 copies of DD Crow. Discard this card, and you can remove from play an opponent's monster from their graveyard. So if they're searching for, if they're ready to activate an effect, or if they're going to use that card, you can discard this card to banish it. and presumptually negate it. Then you've got the 3 cards that aren't Blackwings in here, but these are the Raid Raptor. This is for the Phantom Knights engine. 1 copy of Raider's Wing. Raider's Wing is awesome because it is just like Zephyros the Elite. What you want to do is you want to use Force Strix. Force Strix will allow you to search for this card, or you can search your deck for Zephyros the Elite, and then you can add a Raider's Wing from your deck to your hand using Force Strix's effect. Then from there you can special summon this if you have an Exceed monster on the field, a Dark Exceed monster, and then you can continue with their plays. And this is good because if you have a Exceed monster, when this is used as an Exceed material, the following monster cannot be affected by card effects, which is crazy. Then you've got your 2 extenders, your 2 Phantom Knights card, Phantom Knights of Silent Boots, and Phantom Knights of Ancient Cloak. This is a way to get your Phantom Knights spell and traps to your hand. By removing this from the graveyard, you can add Phantom Knights Silent Boots to your hand. Then you can special summon Silent Boots if you have a Phantom Knights monster on the field, which is going to be Rusty Bardiche. This guy, they also both can search and get Fogblade, which is one of the cards that you're going to want to get in here. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's move on to the spells and traps. And there's not that many. You've got 3 copies of Black Whirlwind, which is by far the best card in this deck. Black Whirlwind, if you have a monster, you can search your deck for a monster that has lower attack than the one that you normal summoned. So you can have a Simoon, search for something that is 1600 or less, and then you can normal summon again because of Simoon's effect and then Black Whirlwind's effect. But this is one of the best cards in this deck, guys. You need to make sure that you have it. 3 copies of Allure of Darkness for your ultimate draw power, because all you got to do is draw 2 cards, and then, which makes it really good, you draw 2 cards, and then you remove from play a dark monster. Now, what I like about that is, the reason I run DD Crow is if by some small chance you are not able to get what you want and you've got a DD Crow in your hand, you can get rid of this DD Crow and you can keep those 2 cards instead. So that's mainly what you want to do. Plus, this is a really good way to search your deck or get into your deck and have more get draw power and just have more stuff in your hand to be able to play. Then you've got a copy of Soul Shade Force. This is going to be used for Cyber Dragon Infinity, and then a copy of Rank Up Phantom Knights Rank Up Magic Force. This is mainly going to be for the Raid Raptor Ultimate Falcon that's in here, or the Dark Requiem XYZ Dragon. Then you've got a copy of Monster Reborn because it's one of the original LOB, so make sure you appreciate that, definitely. And then it's good because it's a good extender. It allows you to special summon a monster from your graveyard or your opponent's graveyard. Alright, let's move on to the traps. So there's only 3 traps in this deck. You got 1 copy of, and this is Korean, but I like the art. I like because it's prismatic rare. 1 copy of Shade Brigading, which becomes a level 4 monster. So you search your deck for this, and then you play it, and then you can activate it whenever you want, and it becomes a level 4 dark monster, which is great for extending your plays and being able to build that board to where you have your negates. This deck can potentially get 5-6 negates on the field depending on what you have easily within your turn or your opponent's turn. So this is what I love about this deck because of how fast it is, how fun it is, and it pulls off some really crazy combos. And then last but not least, you've got 2 copies of Fogblade. Fogblade is a good way you search for it. This negates an opponent's monster's effect. This is one of the negates in this deck. Alright, so that's going to be it for these spells and traps, guys. Let's move on to the extra deck. So I still have 2 copies of Full Armor Master. This guy is amazing. He's not affected by anything, and he can put wedge counters on your opponent's monster every single time they activate their effect. And then, if it's your turn, you can either steal one of their opponent's monsters, or at the end phase of the turn, you can destroy all monsters that have wedge counters. And that was a mouthful. And the original Blackwing Armor Master, got 1 of him because he does the same thing as Full Armor Master, except he can't, like, in terms of not being able to be destroyed. Blackwing Armor Master is unaffected by card effects, and Blackwing regular Armor Master cannot be destroyed by battle, and it places wedge counters on monsters when they attack it. Then you've got Raikiri the Rain Shower. This is a good way to pop cards on the field, depending on the number of Blackwings. This guy gets really beefy, Chidori the Rain Sprinkling, because it counts as how many Blackwings that you have in the graveyard, pumps his attack up by 300 for each one. Blackwing Obsidian Tamer Hawk Joe, this is really good because it special summons a level 5 or higher Blackwing monster from your graveyard, but also is really good because can go in to other plays that you have. It is not a tuner, so you don't have to worry about it if you're going into like a level 12, if you're wanting to play Omnimaru, or if you're wanting to play a rank 7 tuner, like Arsenal Falcon. Arsenal Falcon isn't in this deck, but you can if you want to use that. It totally can, it's up to you. Also, it's really good because it gives you the effect that this card gets destroyed instead of your other Blackwing monster. Then you've got Northrim the Starlight. This gives you an additional normal summon or set, and it does burning damage and decreases a monster attack by 800. And then last but not least for the synchros, I've got Borreload Savage Dragon. This guy has negates based off the number of link monsters that you had that is special summon on your field. It goes to the spell and trap card zone. So if you have a link 2, it'll have 2 negates. If you have a link 3, it'll have 3 negates, and so on and so forth. This is also the only non-Blackwing synchro that I have. So I always try to balance out and have as many more Blackwing synchros, or at least synchro monsters, since this is a synchro heavy deck, than the Exceed or the Link monsters. Alright, so then for the Exceed monsters, you've got Ultimate Falcon. Ultimate Falcon is crazy good because Ultimate Falcon is the same thing as Full Armor Master, but it has 3500 attack, and it can negate monsters' effects on your opponent's side of the field. Cyber Dragon Infinity for that negate, because it negates spells, traps, or effects. Then you've got Dark Requiem, XYZ Dragon. This is what I was talking about. This also has the unaffected. If you have the Raider's Wing, you would want to play that on this guy, and then you use Phantom Knight's Rank Up Force to rank up your Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon to him, and then he also gets negates based off of the number of materials that he has. So if you have 3 materials, you can make him, he has 3 negates. Then your Force Strix to search your deck. Phantom Knight's Rusty Bard each. This guy allows you to get Fog Blade and all your Phantom Knights cards, which is essential to this deck. And then last but not least, you've got your Raid Raptor Ystrix, which can starts the play, because you'll want to get this guy on the field. Then you'll search your deck for a level 4 Winged Beast monster, special summon it, and then go on from there. Alright, that's going to be it for this deck profile. I hope you enjoyed it. This deck is a lot of fun, and this will always be my favorite deck of all time. I will always be a Blackwing player at heart, and I will always play with this deck. And it's crazy and just really fun and just cool how much it has evolved over the years. From it being a pure Blackwing deck in terms of just like having like the original 4 or whatever, to like adding more to it, to now it's just so incredibly fast. It was already really fast when it was first introduced over 10 years ago, but now it is just like unstoppably fast. Alright, that's going to be it for this profile. I hope you guys enjoyed, and see you next time.